Welcome, everybody. We are very happy to have you today on our regular Notary2Pro Roundtable series. And just to refresh everybody's understanding of this, our goal here is to have 30 minutes of highly impactful information, all about growing your business, expanding your skills, or just making work and life better. Before we get started on our roundtable today, I really want to announce we're doing a fundraiser this month in honor of Military Appreciation Month. And the money that we're raising is going to the Gary Sinise Foundation. You know Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. And he has done created an amazing foundation. And we are actively raising funds for that. I will also text this to everybody so that you have it. I'll put it in the chat. But any contribution is valued. Doesn't matter how little, how much. We really appreciate your commitment to our military veterans and first responders. And today, in addition to our Notary2Pro faculty, we have a very special guest, Ronnie Mickle, who is the founder of Unlimited Inc. and Notary Stars. I think almost for sure, Ronnie, everybody on this call already knows who you are, but this will be a nice chance to get to know you a little bit better. So. In addition to Ronnie, and welcome Ronnie, we have Andrea Dooling, who is one of our expert faculty members and also founder of Not Me Notary, known for her very creative, wonderful YouTube channel, Not Me Notary. And welcome, Andrea. And Stephanie Rowland, who is also a faculty member for Notary2Pro and the founder and operator of New Beginnings Notary. And just for your refresher, I'm Michael Ray. I'm CEO of Notary2Pro, and I'm joined today by my sister, Lori Glockner, who many of you probably have spoken. She does a lot of our mentoring and has been very active in Notary2Pro. So welcome, everybody. So happy to have everybody on. Everybody doing well today?
Yep.
Ronnie, I have to tell you, it's so exciting to have you on the call because I've just only really started to get to know you over the last few months. But of course, I've heard about you for many years through my mom, who just raved about her friendship with you and what in her words, what a nice young man you were or are. And so I'm really pleased that you're joining us today. Just for the sake of our audience, could you just briefly introduce yourself and your background and how you're connected to Notary2Pro?
Sure. So I've been, and first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here. It's a little emotional because this is my first real event with Notary2Pro since Miss Carol passed. So it's kind of hard for me, and I know you guys have done this, so it's a little choking up for me. But I had a very great relationship with Miss Carol. Several years ago, I reached out to her as I was growing. I've been a notary for 12 years, and as I grew my business to what it is today, we are a multi-million-dollar signing agency, and we do closings out of 9 states, and we service the entire country and growing. We grow by at least a client or 2 a week at this point. We are doing very well as a signing agency, but when we were getting off the ground, I contacted Miss Carol. And I said, listen, I've done the A/B test between your graduates and other courses graduates. And by far, I'm getting better quality. And we made it a company-wide rule that if you want to work with Unlimited Inc. Notary, that you have to be Notary2Pro. Like, we just give first preference. Now, we have to work with others from time to time, but you guys have built an army out there. I started working more with Miss Carol probably about a year after that. I saw the need for a continuing education, a place where notaries could come to regularly. I wanted to create a positive notary forum because, as you guys know, Facebook University is kind of sometimes vicious. And I really wanted a place where notaries could come to list, learn, earn, and thrive. So with Miss Carol's blessing, I called her and said, look, I don't want to overdo you. I think you have the best Kool-Aid in town. You breed the best notaries. But I wanted to create a place, and I'm really glad that we did, because we address a lot of different topics as well. And I think sometimes I do things differently. I could never do things like Miss Carol. She was very good at hand holding. I am not. I'm very much a straight shooter, and I think we have different personalities, but she and I played, I call it playing tennis, very well together. We balanced each other. And so I was able to develop this relationship. And what's more exciting for me now is I see Notary2Pro going into the future. And, I have to say it, I don't know how she did it by herself. I've already hired teams, and I know you're hiring a team. How she did all of this, by herself with her two daughters, it's a lot of work. She gave us more. She gave us more than anybody on the planet in this industry as far as education. And I'm just so glad to see that you guys are continuing it on. And I see, you and I talk behind the background. I'm so proud to see this going into a new generation of notaries. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it because I have so much respect for everything she's built and what I know you're doing with it.
Well, thanks so much, Ronnie. I appreciate that viewpoint, and the viewpoint that such a long relationship with my mom brought. And I will tell everybody on this call, I look back and I can't believe what she accomplished just with her and my sister Barbara, just the two of them for many years, with my dad sort of helping in the background. What they built is just phenomenal. And I know the last year or so, she was very, very excited about what we were doing and taking it forward. And she was so excited in particular to have family involved in this, and people, close friends, people that she just loved and respected. So Ronnie, you brought up something once with me. You said that, Notary2Pro was like, I might have your words wrong. Notary2Pro was like high school, and you feel like you're more like graduate school, right? In that people in high school, maybe they get a little bit of the hand holding, the extra attention, the focus, the development. Once they're with you, you're expecting them to be grown-ups. Is that something you're comfortable with talking about?
I do. And I've always said, and I don't want to act like we're the only training courses on the planet, because we're not. And I encourage notaries. I've backpedaled on some things I've said over the years, because I also found out some things. But I do feel that Notary2Pro is probably the excellent foundation for a notary. Doesn't matter when you insert it into your career, but if I were to give a notary a perfect journey, I would say you have to do, I call it the necessary evil, the National Notary Association. Nobody kill me next month, but I do call them a necessary evil because I feel like they could have done so much more for us as a community, especially since we all pay in for the background checks and the training every year. If Notary Stars had 450,000 notaries paying into it, I'd be one rich man, and I would tell you, it'd be the glory of courses, but that ain't how it works. We're all grassroots on this side. Speaking of grassroots, the next step I would always tell notaries to do is Notary2Pro. What the foundation that you get there really is what the NNA should have given us. It should have been, there, but they didn't, and they're not going to, as far as I know. What you get at Notary2Pro is a perfect foundation, and she did such an excellent job of covering all the bases and doing it with such kind and love and tenderness. I don't have that at Notary Stars. We are very submersive. We do have some basics to get started to kind of get you into the course, but I always liked people starting at Notary2Pro and then coming over to Notary Stars, because we get really intense. We go through page by page, do all of those things, and we're not necessarily going to hold your hand. We're going to do the training, but we're going to really, it's you're almost ready to walk out the door. Not that you can't from Notary2Pro, but you're either out in the field working or you're getting ready to walk out the door. We're that last finishing polish. You know, we go really in depth there. From there, notaries need to learn how to market. We've implemented marketing, and I know you guys are implementing marketing as well. We've implemented marketing into our training, but I also said Bill Soroka, Sun and Thrive, Laura Beaver, follow everything that they do, because they would be like a next step, because Bill's really good at marketing, and you cannot learn from just one source. And then I hate to say it, but even loan signing systems has something to offer. And what I've told notaries this past 2 years is, no matter, Miss Carol built a huge following of companies that love her graduates, and Notary Stars has built a pretty large following as well, and we're growing in that arena. Mark Wills has a following. People love seeing Bill Soroka's name on it. So when I say Notary2Pro is like high school, what I mean by that is it is getting you ready to go out into the world. There was a lot of hand-holding, a lot of love and comfort there that you don't get once you leave, because now it's time to go to work after that. And I don't do a lot of the hand-holding and the love. And I mean, I do everything I do love.
You're expecting your students to be very, very self-directed and know what they need. Is that
exactly
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back to sort of the fundamentals. What do you feel like people must get out of the NNA training? What is the critical foundation that everybody needs to obtain from that NNA?
I would love to work with you and Stephanie and Andrea and Lori on this. The NNA test is about 5 to 10 questions about loan signing work, and the rest is all ethical questions. One thing that I think that every notary, and self included, for years, when I log in every year, I read that sheet that comes with it before, never printed it out, and there's a signature line down at the bottom. And that ethical test is, you sign off on this, and this is where I see what you're getting from the NNA as an ethics test. But one thing I would love to do, and I've been wanting to do this for Notary Stars, and I'm trying to find a time to plan it, but I'd love to do this with you guys if you guys ever want to do a breakdown of this. That ethical test is what title agencies and signing agencies are expecting notaries to really get out of the NNA. But they never read it. They take that test, they fly through it, but there are certain things that can get you blacklisted with companies, that can have people looking down on you. I'd love for us to go through and break down that sheet of paper that we're all supposed to sign but never do. And then we would really understand what we're supposed to be getting out of the NNA.
Right. Yeah, a real understanding of the you can refer to it as ethics, but the kind of almost sacred responsibilities that you have as a notary, right? The purpose of the profession, right? I think is what you're referring to. I know my mom talked a lot about that in her course. It was important to her that people understood that being a notary was not just a part-time gig. It was something that bore real weight. You know, when you notarize a document, you're putting your name to certain aspects of truth around that document, the identity of the person and the date of the signature and so forth. So Stephanie, you're nodding. What do you think is critical as we have this discussion about the foundation for any notary? And do you agree with Ronnie that the NNA kind of provides that, or what? Rather than ask it that way, what's your perspective on that?
I think the NNA focuses too much on that. I mean, I think that's a good foundation to have, but they give you so much head knowledge, but they don't teach you how to do your job. And I don't think that we should have to take that test every year to be certified as signing agents. I think we should be tested on our knowledge, you know, to do our job, along with what Ronnie's talking about.
And it would be nice if they updated that test in the last 20 years, because that
they haven't.
The industry has changed, but it hasn't.
And
changed.
They ask I noticed they ask the same questions, but in a different way to kind of throw you off your game.
See if they can trick you a little bit.
Yeah. That's what I think. I've taken that test like 5 times, I think.
All right. Andrea, you started with Notary2Pro, and then you went beyond that, creating your own YouTube channel with lots of really useful information. What did you see as what do you see as sort of a foundation for anybody who's a professional signing agent? And where do you typically seek that?
So I think Mr. Ronnie put it well that Notary2Pro definitely was the foundation that, at least for me, that was the foundation for me. And once I got into the business, I realized that he's absolutely right about NNA. There's definitely some beats missing. When I took the NNA and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna be all well equipped and ready to go, well, they only go over like 5 or 6 documents. What about the rest 130 pages that are in a loan packet? And then after I delved into it, I took in Notary2Pro, and once I actually started working, I realized that there were some other tips that I learned along the way, things that saved me money, things that saved me time, things that, you know, sometimes no one ever tells you about. The fact that you might have to work alongside chickens in the kitchen or something like that.
It's true.
But definitely Notary2Pro and everything that Carol talked about definitely was the foundation for me. And I just kind of built off of that.
Okay. And where did you see sort of that gap in the next level, right? Where was it in your mind where you had this foundation, but you needed a little bit more?
I think some of that was really my confidence, but then me wanting to know more details, more, I might be able to show them the close and disclosure, but what if they ask me a question that I can't answer? So me wanting to have more details about the documents, so should questions come up, hopefully I'm able to answer those questions and know what questions I can't answer and when to actually reach out to someone to get those questions answered.
Yeah. Ronnie, you're nodding, and I know from previous discussions that the reason you really built Notary Stars is you wanted to make sure that people could go out and do the job and not make mistakes, right? As a signing service, you need them to be error-free, right? So what were some of the gaps that you saw and that you continue to want to push notaries to fill, like around skills and training?
Well, I have to tell you, I use my own experience to give this scenario. I tell people the first 2 to 3 years that I was a notary, I wouldn't have wanted to be my own notary. There were so many questions and so many things that popped up that come up that you learn over time, and your brain can only hold so much. I wanted to create a place that notaries, yes, they could get that education. See, unlimited ink gives me a broader perspective. We close about 3,000 transactions a month.
Okay.
Whereas most notaries will only see 3,000 transactions in a few years, their first few years. So I have a big broad perspective in just a month. And I quickly realized that it's not just buyer, seller, refinance. There's hard money loans. There's new construction loans. There's what if there's FHA language? What if there's VA language? I wanted to expand upon all of those different loan products. So that's what we wanted to do. But I wanted a notary to be able to, it's so funny. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I called my own Notary Stars line. I went out and did a signing about 6 months ago, and I drove up this big mountain in Tucson, and then I called Travis on my own notary support line to double check myself because I haven't done a VA loan in forever. And I wanted to make sure that I had the document right. And I wanted to create a place where notaries could continue and stay connected in a positive way and be like, oh, we're glad you called. You know, we're glad you're double checking yourself. I think sometimes that the disconnect is once somebody gets a certification or an NNA certificate that they think they're done, you know, that they don't need a colleague, that they're a thing. And I think as a business owner, which we are all of us, every single person on this call is a business owner, you need to have good connections. And not only does it build your resume to take training, but being a member with a student of Notary2Pro, working with Notary Stars, Bill Soroka, Stein and Thrive, you build your network of being able to secure those questions, because nobody in this industry should work alone. You should have tons of colleagues to be able to network with and learn from. And it's not just about the documents, it can also be about how to run your business.
Yeah.
Stephanie, you're agreeing there. Is there something that comes to mind?
Well, I'm glad that I have several notaries, you know, in my state, or even, you know, there's a couple out in California that I consult with when I see a document that I haven't seen before, that I think I might know the answer to, but reaching out to them helps me. And like, I'm one of those notaries, I am not afraid to network with notaries in my area. I think it only builds you up emotionally, gives you confidence. It helps you. I don't see them as competition. And that's the mindset, is that we're all in competition, but we're there to do the same job, and we should be helping each other.
Yeah. I think that's a great point.
I'd love to, I don't mean to interrupt, but Miss Stephanie, I would love to say this. I have found having a good network of notaries to be the only way to really operate. And case in point, I have one notary and everywhere I've ever lived that becomes my best friend notary, my BFF notary. They have a key to my home and my office. When I got married years ago, I had gone out, I said yes to every signing I could because I was about to pay this big old wedding bill. And I left 3 loan packages on my kitchen counter that I said, you got to take these with you. And I got halfway to Las Vegas for the flights and realized I can't turn around now. I'm going to get a divorce before I'm even finalized. And I just called the notary and said, can you please go get these packages? Someone that I could really trust. And, you know, they were already sealed. And I said, this is where they are. Please knock my house back. They were able to go. And you never know when you're going to need a printer, borrow a ream of paper. You need a local notary that you can really team up with, and then referral business back and forth.
Yeah.
It really works.
Yeah, I think, it's kind of silly for us to look at our fellow notaries as competition, in the sense that the market is so huge, right? Your success is not dependent on other people not being successful or failing, right? Your success is really dependent on your own ability to get things right, do things the right way, market yourself effectively, build your reputation. And certainly a network is something I think everybody on the call would agree is critical to your success, right? Lori, there's been a little bit of chat back and forth, and I don't know if anybody's used the Q&A for questions, but should we address anything that people are talking about? Oh, you're muted.
I don't, well, I've already taken care of a couple of questions privately for some people, but I don't really see any questions that need to be answered. There's comments about what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, I'm still checking the Q&A. So if you can direct them in there.
I know that there was some anxiety about the order that you do things, but the order of all this doesn't really matter, right? Get the foundation, get the training you need in the type of documents that you're going to be working on, get the training on how to operate your business and how to market yourself, right? Doesn't matter if you do A first or B first, right?
No, and I'm glad that you're saying that, because I said it when I rolled it out, that I said if I could create the perfect journey, but we have tons of people that come from loan signing systems. We have tons of people that went to Bill first, and tons of people who did Notary2Pro first. I just said if I laid it out perfectly,
right?
Carol, what she built is really, I think, the perfect foundation. I mean, there's just something about, you know, I said this at the recent AEA conference. I said, whatever she was serving in the Kool-Aid over at that house was just, you know, there was something in the Kool-Aid. And I was very happy to point out at the American Escrow Association, you know, to look down and look for that Notary2Pro logo if you're a title officer wanting to work with you know, a notary. Look down and look at their credentials and know what those credentials mean.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Ronnie. Everybody's journey is a little bit different. And, you know, my mom's journey was certainly very different, having spent many years in escrow and managing escrow offices and so forth. So, you know, she came into this notary business with a very technical and sort of holistic view of the real estate process that I think is probably difficult to replicate. But, you know, there's all kinds of ways that we come and become notaries. So what do you see today? Anybody, we've only got a few minutes. We got a little bit of a late start, so I'll extend us just a couple of minutes. But what do you guys see as the most important skills of the last couple of years? Is there something that stands out for you as something that everybody really needs to focus on? Ronnie, go for it.
I wrote these down because I really didn't want to forget them, and I hope I'm not jumping over anybody that wants to say. So if you want to go before, there are 4 things I really wanted to get into this call today.
Okay.
Technology is one.
Okay.
As a business owner, you have to know how to work technology. You have to know your printer and your scanner and all of those things. But like Zoom, even self-included, you saw we started this off today with some technicalities, self-included. Yeah. And it's okay because we're doing this as a webinar, which is different than the way we've done things before. Someone's traveling, things are going to happen. But as a business owner, this is something that all notaries really need to know is technology. And if you don't know how to work your computer, I hear notaries tell me all the time, I'm going to download that to the site. No, you're going to upload that to the site. You need to know the language. And there are free computer courses. None of us are going to teach you how to use a computer, but there are free computer courses that you can use. That's just an example. There's free Zoom training out there. There's free computer courses that you can take that'll teach you what a desktop is, how to download, where it goes, what happens, how to find it. Get on YouTube. There's a ton of free information. The next thing is customer service and time management, which is part of customer service. I did, and I would like to, Michael, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we did a beautiful series. I always said I couldn't teach customer service, but I did about 6 or 7 hours of customer service training. I'd love for you to review it. And if you'd like to put it in your library for your students, I'd love to do a library loan where you can have that customer service training. Because I think it's so important for notaries to understand customer service. Marketing is another thing. I hear all the time, I'm not getting any signings. I don't know, you know, I don't know if I'm going to make it in this industry. And I have to say, I'm sorry, you're a business owner and you have to market your notary business. It's not just about signing up for a company and hoping that they'll call you. It's about knowing how to, you know, work your own website. And if you have a website built, knowing how to make sure that the SEO value, I didn't realize the slide was so bright. Knowing how to manipulate your own website and all those types of things. And then the last thing that I want to talk about real quick, and I just want to say, knowing how to work with other people is so important. And it's not about customer service. Miss Stephanie had brought this up about basically, you know, turning colleagues, competitors into colleagues, but it goes beyond that. And I want to say this, and I don't want anyone to find offense, but it is so inexpensive for anyone to get into this industry. It is the lowest cost startup, max return business if you do it right. We all come from different walks of life. We all come into this industry for different reasons. But what I've noticed in our industry is there is no human resources. There is no, let me go talk to my boss about that. You are the boss. You are the human resources. How you resolve an issue with other notaries or how you communicate with them is really, really important. And I see it even in our own forum. I know that it goes around in a lot of notary forums and we try to nip it in the bud. But it's really important to know how to work with other people. And you can seek out TED Talks. You can seek out all kinds of things to help you with those things. I have to work on that myself consistently. I wasn't born the nice guy that you get on the phone when you call all the time. And I joke sometimes I roll my eyes and scream and go, ah, not again. And then I answer the phone. Hi, this is Ronnie. How can I help you?
Yeah.
You know, but I think before I post, I don't allow myself to post on a cuff. I think what is the most loving answer that I can give to this person? What will be the most light shedding answer? Doesn't matter if it's been 100 times or it's their first time.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how to work with other people is so important. And I will tell you, I'm going to bring it full circle. For years, I looked at Carol's course and thought, I'm never going to go down that road. I don't know what this woman's about. And I have to tell you, the difference between going all Notary2Pro at Unlimited Ink, I'll never forget when I was managing the client locally. I was doing Arizona and California, but mostly Arizona. And I will never forget when my client said, we don't know what you've done, but we want to go nationwide with you. And that was so amazing. And when they went nationwide with us, 150 clients later with several offices underneath are now using us. And I now know the value of a community like Notary2Pro as a business owner. And so Ms. Carol also introduced me to kindness, because I was not that way before. I was an independent notary trying to make a business happen. And she taught me how to slow down, answer questions, be kind, and how to do it this way. So just had to bring that full circle, because I have had to learn to work with others, especially in the last 3 years, so many different walks of life. I believe in these things that I say, but they're really hard to implement sometimes.
Yeah, especially the last, Ronnie. I appreciate your words of wisdom, and although we're out of time, I'll say I really appreciate the last point you made, because I don't know how all of us feel. What I hear from people continuously is we live in a very harsh world right now. And for those of us who are online and exposed to social media and the news and everything else, it feels very challenging. And to take a deep breath and remember that you're dealing with a human being at the other end of a phone call or an email, to be patient and to think about what's the best kind of approach, rather than what you really want to do in the emotions of the moment, is often really challenging. And as a business owner, we have to take that approach. It's what's best for us as human beings, but also best as business people. So Stephanie, you raised your hand. And
I just wanted to say really quick, this business has taught me a lot about being patient. And I'm not a patient person by nature, because I'm type A, but man, I'm telling you, I have learned to be extremely patient, and among other things, but like I said, it's the best business in the world.
Okay,
I love it.
Good. Thank you. And no, Lori?
Yeah, we had somebody that had a question in the Q&A. And Haley wants to know, how do you know if you're doing a good job as a loan agent or getting yourself blacklisted?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can answer that. We will be doing actually an event tomorrow on Notary Stars Unlimited, where we're going to talk about what signing agencies think about you. And I will be able to, you can just register at Notary Stars Unlimited. That is a long conversation to have, and it will be about an hour. I'd love to invite you to come to that. It's a free event. You don't have to be a member of Notary Stars. You just register one time. And I'd love to talk to you about that. And then we record it. I'll send it to you, Michael. And then if you want to send it to any of your students, but it's going to be a really great episode tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a deep subject. So
it's tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
And
Ronnie, where do you register, Ronnie?
You can go to notarystars.com/unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would urge everybody to take a look at your website if they've not done so. and take advantage of some of the great resources that are available even free on your site. I know that there's a paid portion, but you know, there's a lot of great resources as well. So thanks everybody. We are about what, 8 minutes over what we planned, but I so appreciate the conversation. I hope our audience found this this useful, and I know I certainly did, and wonderful to talk to everybody. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hello, I'm Michael Ray, CEO of Notary2Pro. Thanks for joining us for this webinar. Be sure to see our website, Notary2Pro.com, for more information and resources. Also, don't forget to sign up with us there for great additional updates, news, and tools. Notary2Pro is the most respected professional signing agent course in the United States. Founded by Carol Ray in 2009, Notary2Pro has trained more than 10,000 notaries to become professional signing agents. Our graduates are preferred by more signing agencies because only Notary2Pro enables notaries to practice error-free signings. Thanks again, and see you next time.